You're listening to 91 Reasons, a journey into the twisted landscape of pop culture. Keep your hands and arms inside the podcast at all times. And now, the voice, Jeff Tucker.
You've joined me once again in the car. We're back at the dentist's office for Rachel to have more dental work done, so I have an hour to kill or more in the car. And what better way to spend it than talking to my phone, but nobody on the other end? Think about that. We use our phone now to talk and make these vlogs as if we're talking to somebody. So it's a phone being used to talk to somebody, but not the person on the end of the line, a unknown person or persons later down the road. Isn't that exciting? What have you been up to? Where have we gone in our car? Nowhere. Just nowhere. We're in California, so there's nowhere to go. Although Knott's Berry Farm is opening on Friday for the Boysenberry Festival tasting event. I cannot wait. I have a shift, an actual shift at work. I'm so thrilled for that. I love going to work. I've always been like that. So that's stellar. Now, I've talked on this show extensively about Morrissey and the Smiths and how I was dating a girl and we double dated and they played the Smiths on the radio and I had to know what that was. And after that, I was hooked. But there was a time, of course, prior to listening to that I did listen to music. Not a big period, but there was music before the Smiths that I listened to. The biggest, obviously, being Huey Lewis, but I was listening to Huey Lewis a full year before Back to the Future came out, so that was just a happy accident of band that I listened to and movie that I became obsessed with, and they happened to be the same, doing the same thing, working towards the same goals. That was totally kismet on that part. But there was another group that I don't think I've ever talked about on this show, and that is in 1985, I had just started high school. I started high school in 84. So by 85, I was moving up to be a freshman because in Norwalk, you started high school at 8th grade because it's totally reasonable and safe to send me, a 4'11" Dungeons and Dragons playing sci-fi dork, to high school where the seniors had beards and active sex lives, and here I was, this basic child, attending classes with them, and it was not pleasant. But by the time 85 rolled around, I was a little more savvy. It would take years. I didn't really start a good high school career till my sophomore year, when I became president of the drama club and started molding the club and the drama curriculum, with, of course, the great teacher, Maggie Regalado. But I was able to have some input into what we were doing, and I was like, we got to move away from doing these musicals because I can't sing. I can't sing at all, and we're doing musicals, and that's not going to get me on the stage, or if it is, I'm going to be in the back. And I'm a big a-hole with a big mouth, so I want to be on stage. So we started doing plays at that point, the first one being Charlie's Aunt. But we're going back. So in the summer of 85, I had just finished my 8th grade school year, and I had decided that I liked, and this is a different turn of phrase. When I was going to school, scamming on a girl meant you wanted to date them. I know later on, scamming actually graduated to making out. Did you scam with her? No, I did not. But in 1984, 85, scamming, are you scamming on her? I'm trying to, scam on her, whatever that means. We mold and bend pop culture and slang to our own, right? Because again, growing up, swag was what you got at a con. I got all the con swag, and now swag is somehow cool points, which I don't know about because I don't have any. But I was just leaving 8th grade, and I had decided that I liked this girl named Sarah. Sarah Showalter, her name was. She's disappeared. She's not on any social media. I have no idea where she's at. So if you know where Sarah Showalter is, Sara, no H, Showalter, and she had a sister named Amy, and her sister was younger, but Sarah was just this nice girl that I tried to date. We never did, never dated, never went on a date. She ended up dating a guy named Jason, and he gave her a promise ring. And how can I compete with a promise ring? I have nothing to offer. I did in 1885 for Christmas. I bought her a Cabbage Patch Kid. I mean, doesn't that just say it all? A desperate dork such as myself bought her a Cabbage Patch Kid. But at the time, those were hard to get. You had to go on the black market to get them. But I like Sarah Showalter. And now my sister was younger than me, and she got tickets to see Wham in concert. George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley in concert. And so Wham was played a lot in our house. Jennifer had all the records, and I at least listened to Wham, by osmosis through the walls. And I actually really liked the music of Wham. I know that sounds dorky to say, but I really liked Wham. I didn't care for it. I mean, this is different, though. We're talking 36 years ago. 36 years ago. And so the songs we're talking about were not overplayed yet. So Careless Whisper, Wake Me Up Before You Go, these were brand new songs. And you could listen to them and go, wow, that's great. I remember listening to Careless Whisper, like, man, I would give anything to go to the Sadie Hawkins dance with a girl and dance to Careless Whisper in the gym while the lights flashed and the crepe paper decorations fluttered. And that never happened. Never. I never went to a gymnasium dance at the school with a date. I did go to winter formal. I did go to prom one time each, but that was it. And I don't remember if I even danced at those events, so I may be painting a picture of what might have been and not even close to what really was or could have been, or maybe I did and don't remember. But after listening to a lot of George Michael, or Wham, because he wasn't George Michael, he was just Wham. And she used to play that Wham rap that Rachel really likes now. Wham, I am. See, I don't know that one very well because I was a little farther down the line. But she got tickets to go see Wham in concert, and she decided to bring Sarah with her to the concert because I guess she was a friend of mine, so she should take her to the concert. And that meant Sarah was going to stay the night at my house. And that just put me in a state because I am not attractive. I have nothing cool to wear. And I don't like anybody seeing the idiocy that I live under. Because 1985 was Berg. I mean, that would have been madness to bring someone around. But, he would have been on his best behavior. Hey, Berg, Jennifer, my sister's bringing a friend over to see a concert. Oh, that's going to be great. This guy's going to the concert. Jeff's home. Oh, what's my money? That's my life. Having someone from high school over is usually like a fun thing, but having Sarah over put me in a state. And that whole thing goes in the blender of the beginning of Wham and liking that music and really liking their other hits. And Rachel always yells because she's like, you like those trendy rah-rah hits. But it's funny because as of now in 2021, they only play Careless Whisper and Wake Me Up Before You Go by Wham. And then during Christmas, obviously, last Christmas. That's it. You'd think Wham had 3 hits. They had so many more. And my favorite Wham song is Freedom. And on YouTube, there's a 6-minute version that I will put on when I'm writing, I don't want your freedom. I think that's a great song. And I'm Your Man. I think Wham's great. I have an unabashed affection for that band. There's nothing wrong with disposable bubblegum pop. There just isn't. NSYNC, Britney Spears, New Kids on the Block, Christina Aguilera, all of the poppy bubblegum hits have their place. And a lot of bubblegum hits somehow get moved to legitimate hits later in life. And I think that's what happened with Careless Whisper. Wake Me Up Before You Go that's bubblegum at its tip-top finest. But I'm Your Man and Freedom are fantastic songs. Now, my sister moved away from Wham and moved on to the cool music. Depeche Mode, Susie and the Banshees, Missing Persons, Till Tuesday, all of those bands in the right after 85, and we're moving into 86, 87. And I was watching Andrew Ridgeley give an interview right before the pandemic, and he was talking about remembering George Michael, and he said that him and George had sat down and they knew that Wham only had a limited shelf life. He said, how long were we going to be the teeny bopper good time guys? So we decided to get out while the getting was good. And you know what? I had never even considered that, because I was always under the impression that these rock bands, pop bands, duos, solo artists, that they were in it for as long as they could write it. And as long as they were making money, they were still going to churn out music. But that's not the case with some of them. And Andrew Ridgeley was very honest in saying they knew that it wasn't going to last long, so they decided to just end it before they looked silly. And, oh my God, big respect to a guy for saying that. Imagine if Elvis had retired after the 68 comeback special. Have you ever seen the 68 comeback special? He looks astounding. He looks like a Greek god in that black leather singing all the greatest hits. If he had sailed off into the sunset after that, we would only have that image in our head of how Elvis turned out instead of the big bloated, drugged out Las Vegas version of Elvis. But when Wham ended, George Michael regrouped and started a solo career. And that's when my love of George Michael just went through the roof. I loved the album Faith. I thought Faith was an astounding album. This is, again, pre-Smiths, late teen Depression era Jeff, who wore a black trench coat and sometimes a fedora and was basically, telling women, stay away from me. I am happy in my misery. Which was the opposite of what I was trying to do. Maybe if I'd stuck with George Michael, I would have had better luck with women, because they would have said, look, that guy's fun, as opposed to, oh my God, does he have a weapon? But I loved Faith. The song Faith is great. The church organ opening, father figure, you were kissing a fool. I Want Your Sex, I Want Your Sex Part 2, I Want Your Sex Part 3. All of Faith is a great... It's one of the few albums from that era you can put on and just leave. You're going to deal with a couple of wonky ones, because especially I Want Your Sex Part 2 and Part 3 are very weird songs. And I think I've talked very briefly on another episode that I Want Your Sex 1, 2, and 3 tell a story of this guy wanting to sleep with this person, and by the end, he's out of patience, and he's decided to get the person drunk. And I say person because we all know that George Michael came out as gay, which is, again, alien to me, because I remember watching him in the 80s and thinking, if I look like that, I could get any girl that I wanted. Oh my God, he's one of the most beautiful men ever. It didn't even occur to me, because you don't care about it. I've never cared about the sexuality of the people I admire. They're just people to me. They're just people. They're just amazing artists. But we all know George Michael had some demons. He really did. But by the end of I Want Your Sex Part 3, the person's getting drunk, and he's waiting for that gin and tonic to go to your head. And I played Faith ad nauseum in the first car that I drove around with the cassette. It would click over to the next side and just start again, and then click over to the next side, and then just start again. And it culminated in I went and saw George Michael in concert. Once again, it involves a stupid story about a girl. I was dating a girl very briefly. It did not go anywhere. And it's totally my fault. I had no idea how to deal with women, as if I know now, right? But I had no idea how to deal with women, or how to talk to women, or engage with women, or, what women want. Oh my God, I had no clue. So whenever I was around this girl that I dated, I would just shut down, like, be an automaton. Maybe she'll open the conversation and talk to me, because I don't know what to say. But I remember telling her, hey, I got tickets in November for George Michael concert. Oh my God, the Faith Tour. He's going to wear the jacket. He's going to have the stubble. He's going to have the cross earring on the gold hoop. And remember, I do have my ear pierced so I can look like George Michael. I looked anything like George Michael in my dreams. But I told her, we're going to go to the concert in November. And I think somewhere in my psyche, I thought, this is going to keep her my girlfriend until November. And it was like May. Oh my God, this is the perfect plan. And then, of course, she broke up with me because I deserved it. I was a complete dumbass when it came to women. What was she going to do with a dumbass like me? Just sit and stare at me as I stared off at the floor? I hope she talks to me. Oh my God, what do I do? So she ran for the hills, and rightfully so. There's a guy walking by my car. I think he was very interested in what I was doing in here. There he goes. You can see him in the back. He didn't stop, though, thankfully. No, she broke up with me. And she wasn't going to the concert with me. And me, as dumb as I am, thought, well, now what am I going to do? How am I going to go to the concert? I got tickets for George Michael. So I know what you're thinking. Jeff, you had a choice of any girl. Who wouldn't want to go see George Michael? You're totally right. I should ask any girl in high school and go, I have 2 tickets to George Michael at the Forum. 2 tickets. And instead, I asked my friend Terry. And Terry and I went and saw George Michael, which I think I've talked on the show before. I had a friend named Terry who was one of the star football players, one of the coolest guys in school. He did drama with me. He was in the first play that I ever wrote, Party Line. We hung out all the time. We went all kinds of places together. We used to hang out at parties while he drank wine coolers. I have a picture somewhere of Terry completely drunk holding my Pepsi and me completely sober holding his wine cooler. And I remember back in the day, I would just ask Terry all the time, what are you doing? Why are you wasting your time with a dork like me? And I can't speak for Terry, but I think the answer was he liked that I didn't give a crap, that I didn't care what people thought. I had a mouth. I stood up to people. I didn't care if a guy wanted to kick my ass. It never even occurred to me that I should kowtow to anybody. The only spot in high school that I was completely an idiot was women. I just shut down because I never got any signals. I didn't know how to send signals. I didn't know how to receive signals. I was an Atari 2600 without that little box that it connected to the 2 screws so you could put game or TV. I didn't have that as far as dating goes, if that analogy makes any sense to you. Terry and I went and saw George Michael at the Forum. It was a fantastic concert. He sang all his hits. My only complaint was that during Faith, he did it as a sing-along. Like, he brought out the jukebox. They brought out the jacket. They brought out the guitar. And he made a big deal of, like, reenacting the video moment. But then he would go, I guess it would be nice. And then he'd point and he'd go, if I could touch your body, I know. And then there's something weird about that. Like, I know he enjoys it and we're enjoying it because he's enjoying it. But, we paid a lot of money to hear him sing. But he did do my favorite George Michael song, which is Monkey, which as far as the radio's concerned, doesn't even exist. Why can't you do it? Why can't you set your monkey free? And it's about drug abuse. Had a video that had heavy play on MTV and radio play, and now it's just non-existent. You know, they play very little of George Michael's solo stuff. They play Faith, and sometimes they play Father Figure, but that's really about it. You know, I did a show once called Who Controls the 80s about why these bands only get one or two songs out of a whole roster of hits. And I find that fascinating. Just fascinating that no one will play. And I'm not talking about deep cuts, because Jim Ladd used to play deep cuts on KLOS, and he'd play songs that were never intended to be radio songs. But legitimate songs that were released as singles, released as 45s, released as Ka-singles, remember Ka-singles? They don't play them on the radio. We had a great time at the George Michael concert and got to hear all his hits. And I'll never forget that I bought a t-shirt in the lobby. I was very excited to get my George Michael t-shirt. It was not his picture. It was a generic shirt of just text written in the font of the album. And this is so ridiculous. The shirt said, on the front it said, George Michael, I want your sex, small. And on the back in big letters it said, explore monogamy, which is what he's writing on the model's leg in lipstick in the video. And I couldn't wait to buy that shirt. It was the only thing I bought at the show. I might have bought a program too. I can remember having a program, but I'm not sure if I got that at the show or at a thrift store, because you see rock concert programs all the time. You think they're valuable, and mostly they're not. But I got, this is where the stories take you, my friends. They take you all around the block here. I got home that night from the concert, having had a great time seeing George Michael live in concert, and I had the wrong t-shirt. It was just a generic George Michael t-shirt, and I was pissed off. Why I didn't look at the t-shirt at the show, I'll never know. I'll never know the answer to that. But I had to go back. I couldn't just, you know what? I take it back. I'm going to say, instead of having the wrong shirt, it was the wrong size. Because that seems more plausible, doesn't it? That I wouldn't have even unfurled the shirt at the concert and saw, well, this is the wrong shirt. But I know that for the story to make any sense, I had to go back to the Forum the next day. There was a concert the next day, so I went very early. Okay, this is so stupid. I talked my friend Eric into going with me, so I wouldn't have to drive alone. I was driving my brother's car, his little Toyota Celica, tiny little car. You know, gets 4,000 miles to the gallon. And Eric was this heavy metal guy. Another guy that really had no business hanging around with a dork like me. You know, not that Eric was the epitome of coolness. I mean, not like Terry being a football player and having women throw themselves at him, which they did. And he deflected them, right? But Eric was a heavy metal guy. What's he doing? We're going to the Forum to exchange a George Michael shirt. Need I say more than that for the story not to make any sense? I sweet-talked my way past the booth, if there was even anybody at the booth, got all the way to the Forum, walked around the Forum until I found somebody, and I said, look, I was at the concert last night, and I bought a shirt, and I need to exchange it. And I know the guy looked at me like, are you stupid? You drove all the way back here for what? I got the shirt. I know I got the shirt because I actually have a picture of me wearing the shirt, the Explore Monogamy shirt that I wore to a rehearsal of shows. This is the most ridiculous thing ever, that I think that if looking back, if I had to guess, I thought the shirt was edgy. Like, this is going to cause women to just go, oh my God, he likes George Michael and his shirt has a pseudo-sexual message. It said explore monogamy on it, as if there was any option for me to sleep around, much less with one person. I know the word of the day is cringe. Oh, I looked at it and I cringed. Back when I was in high school, the word was douche chills. Oh my God, I got douche chills for that guy acting like a jerk off. And sometimes when I see that picture of me wearing that Explore Monogamy shirt, I just go, what was I thinking? Oh my God, I was so... And you have to put the whole picture together, folks. The Explore Monogamy shirt, the mullet, the really extreme long mullet, and the earring. You gotta have the earring. And I didn't wear a cool cross. I wore a black heart for a while, and then I wore a penny. Rachel hates that. When she met me, I was wearing a penny, like a little tiny penny in my ear. What? I want to beat myself up. I want to do like Bill and Ted, get a time machine, go back in time, and hurt myself and go, what are you doing, man? But remember, I did all that, and it caused people to admire me, I guess, because I didn't give a crap. And boy, did I not give a crap. Because if you pair the Explore Monogamy shirt, the mullet, the earring, the non-shaven, because I couldn't afford a lot of razors, and I couldn't grow a beard. This is the first time in my life ever I've had any kind of facial hair that actually doesn't look like I'm an inbred hillbilly from Chattanooga, which I might be. But you have to also add in the scraggly sort of half beard thing. And then the piece de la resistance is, of course, either the knee-high moccasins that I wore or the knee-high Converse that were supposed to be worn folded down, but I wore folded up because I was completely stupid. So I get the t-shirt returned, exchanged. Eric and I drive home. I drop Eric off. I can remember it vividly. I drop Eric off. I pull out of Eric's neighborhood, which is just down the street from my house. And boom, I get hit by a car. A truck just barreled right over the hood of the car. Clang, clang, and knocked the car back. And I sat there for a long moment thinking, I should have just kept the shirt. Oh no, I'm in such trouble. And it turned out it was a guy driving his work truck who sideswiped me. And before I could even do anything, he was out of his car. He had a Polaroid camera. Before digital, 30 years before digital cameras were everyday, or smartphones, he had a Polaroid in his truck. He kept a Polaroid camera in his truck loaded with film and jumped out and was taking pictures of the accident. His car, my car, how far the cars were apart, and I was like, what are you doing? And nobody has a cell phone. There's no cell phones in this day and age. So somebody has to call the police. Somebody has to call somebody. And I remember running over to Eric's house and calling my mom, you got to come down here. And she drives up and she's freaking out. And the car is it's not wrecked, but it has been damaged. And that ended up in some weird court battle for years afterwards. It finally culminated in a deposition where I had to sit across from a lawyer and tell my side of the story. I was like, well, I pulled out into a turn lane and Mr. So-and-so in his work truck came around the flow of traffic that was stopped at the red light and barreled through me before I could get in the lane to make the turn. And regardless of whose fault it was, eventually they just dismissed everything and said, everybody's free to go. My phone is getting hot because I'm out of the shade now. I've sat here talked so long, I'm out of the shade again. So I have to move. All right, I'm back. I had to move the car again. I'm in the shade again, so we're doing better. I know what you're thinking. Jeff, you should just go behind the building where they have special stalls you can park in, and those will be shaded the whole time. Ah, but they're very scary. You know that scene in Casino where Sharon Stone meets De Niro, and he's like, yeah, there's some coats in there. Go down in there. And she looks down the aisle, and she's like, you can see in her face, if I go down there, I am dead. And he's like, no, go ahead. Go ahead. And she goes, she takes off, and he just sort of gives this look, and you're never really certain what was going to happen if she went down there. That's what would happen if I tried to park in those parking spaces that are covered. No. There's graffiti, and I saw a guy sleeping there once, and the last thing I need is somebody coming in when I'm doing this show, because this is already dorky enough, a guy sitting and talking in his car. I don't need anybody else to help me be this dorky. Well, the court case dragged on for years. I gave the deposition, and then it just sort of went away. I don't remember ever giving any money to the deposition, to the other party about his truck. I think eventually the company he worked for just said, we're just going to eat it. Let bygones be bygones. We can't figure out who's at fault, and just end it. But none of that would have happened if I'd have just stuck with whatever shirt I got, whether it was the wrong design or the wrong size. But then I wouldn't have this great story of my Explore Monogamy shirt almost getting me killed. Give me a break. By this time, Morrissey has come into my life, and I'm sort of not listening to anything else. But a couple years later, George Michael released another song, Songs Without Prejudice Volume 1. And I bought it opening the first release day because I was such a big fan. And I was so ready for another album like Faith, full of just every kind of pop hit you can imagine. Pop hit, ballad, pop hit, ballad. Songs Without Prejudice, I think that's the name of it. I might be getting it wrong. It's been a while. I don't even own it anymore. Terrible album. It has one good song on it, Freedom 90. It's the only popular song from that album. It had a great video, directed by David Fincher, the great David Fincher. George Michael's not in it. It's all supermodels. Great song. It gets a little bit of airplay every now and then, but not nearly as much as Careless Whisper or Wake Me Up Before You Go. But I really like that song. That song is worth buying the whole album for, but the rest of it's not very good. After that, I finally met Rachel and I got married, and we moved on to other things, bigger and better things. I was always a George Michael fan, like for real, like really, really enjoyed the guy's music. Now, when I put on a George Michael video on YouTube, I can watch 10 in a row. I think the guy, I like Knew You Were Waiting, Different Light, Father Figure, Kissing a Fool. You were strong. You were when I could have been your star. You listen to people. I love all of his lyrics. I think the music's really good. In the 90s, he moved on to basically dance music. You've ever seen the video where the model is wearing all of the rear view mirrors, and they're all so she can see herself at any place. I almost made one of those. But he moved on to dance music, which is not really my thing. I still followed him. And anytime he made TV appearances, I caught them because, again, a big fan. And, when he passed away a few years, he had that stupid business of he was in a bathroom with another guy or soliciting. He had his demons, It's hard to become that uber mega famous and not have some problems, because I've always said that I am the way I am by the word no. I am defined by the perimeters of my life, and I'm constantly pushing them out to make my life better, and that's what keeps me striving. You can't afford that. Work harder. Okay, I will work harder. You can't go there. You're not good enough. Okay, I will get better. But when you reach the level of a George Michael where there's no ever in your life, everything is yes, because you're one of the most famous people in the world. You were on We Are the World. You filled stadiums. You were one of the first pop groups to enter China. Wham did a lot. George Michael did even more. Andrew Ridgeley had a solo album and sort of There's a guy running down the street now. And now he's making punching noises in the street. I have to lock the door. I actually have to lock the door because I don't know what this man is doing. Now he's in the middle of the street and he's bopping his arms and he's fighting with somebody that's not. And, take a look. Look, there's no break from the craziness here in California. That man right there, now he's throwing stuff. No dull moments here, man. He was shadow boxing in the street with nobody. And he's going to get behind the wheel of that van. Now, when he pulled in really abruptly, which I just thought, well, maybe he was gunning for that spot. But not the case. Look at the craziness here in California. We are living in crazy town, man. Oh my God. Crazy town. If he comes back, well, I have to lock the doors. I have locked the doors. I am safely in my podcasting cocoon. George Michael had his demons. He did a lot of good. He was a very talented guy. I dug his music. I really liked him. And when he passed away a few years back on right around Christmas, you just have a moment and you go, oh my God, I outlived somebody I really admired. You just think they're going to be around forever. You don't even factor in that there's going to be a time where that person is no longer on the planet making music. The same thing with David Bowie, the same thing with Prince. George Michael was a real big part of my life, like a really big part. Right at the moment that I needed him with his pop music, and then he grew as an artist, and Faith was a much different album than anything Wham had put out, and then Songs Without Prejudice, Songs of Faith and Devotion, that's Depeche Mode, right? And then one day they're just gone, and it's very tragic. But thank you, George, for all your music. It was really appreciated. Really appreciated. And if you know where Sarah Showalter ended up, let me know. I was able to find Mr. Benton, Mark Benton, my teacher from 7th grade, because of this show. I have no desire to, I hardly knew Sarah at all, but it would be funny to go, oh my God, remember George Michael and Wham? And she'd go, who are you? You are, no. And then you know what? I'd go, I'm used to that. I'm used to that. All right, I have a list. I brought a list. And the list is the top 10 songs that should be locked away in a vault forever and never heard again for at least 100 years. And I'm calling it my potato chip list. My potato chip song list. You ever open a bag of chips? Not a single size, a single serving, like a big bag of chips. And, oh wait, Crazy Man's back. You eat the chips, and you're like, these are the best chips I've ever had. Oh my God, I could eat these chips forever. I could just go on eating them and eating them. And you reach a point where you go, I never want to eat these chips again. I've had enough chips. Somebody take these chips away. That doesn't mean the chips weren't good. It just means you had your fill. And you can't have steak every night, which I actually don't believe that. I could have steak every night. But you know the saying, you can't have steak every night. If you have it every day, you're not going to appreciate it. These songs are not bad songs. They're just completely, unbelievably overplayed as songs. I'm sorry, I'm distracted because Crazy Guy got in his van. And I wonder where he's going. I'm going to flip this around. And we can see the Crazy Guy taking off in his van. I just want to make sure he's not coming back to ram me with his van. Because, this guy was in the street doing karate with nobody. I don't know what he was up to. Guy had some demons. It looks like he's just taking off, which is good. Oh, he's turning. He's turning! Okay, so the songs are good. They're just overplayed. And again, I've done this episode. I think it's because they're cheap in royalties, that some songs are more expensive than others. And so the radio stations have a certain quota of how many songs and a budget they have of those songs they can use. So they have to pick and choose which ones. And these ones just get picked over and over and over and over again because they're cheap. But oh my God. My kids know I turn on the radio and I just go from song to song. I go, no, 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 no. Okay, honorable mention. Honorable mention is Sweet Dreams Are Made of This by the Eurythmics. This song is on 6 to 7 times a day. I don't know what Sweet Dreams are made of because she never tells us in the song. The video doesn't explain it unless it's cows. I love Annie Lennox. Dave Stewart, I think the Eurythmics are great, but this song has to go away. We can't enjoy you if you're always here. We need time away so that we can remember how much we like you. And the Eurythmics have great songs. Here Comes the Rain Again. Would I Lie to You? They have a lot. Who's That Girl? Who's that girl running around? They have really good songs. And Sweet Dreams is a good song, but oh my God. K-Earth 101, it's like the third or fourth every song they play it. And some of these are more than that. These are songs that are on all day. But honorable mention goes to the Eurythmics. Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. Number 10, Anything by Michael Jackson. I grew up liking Michael Jackson. I owned Thriller. I owned Bad. I bought the Bad replica boots. Or my friend Bobby bought them for me with the buckles up the side. I loved those stupid boots. Again, women repellent. These were women repellent, these shoes. Women were not going to like me wearing these shoes. I don't know what I was thinking wearing them. But I wore the Michael Jackson Bad boots. I got them at Wild Pear. Remember Wild Pear? But Michael Jackson, man. Ever since he passed away, they play Billie Jean, The Way You Make Me Feel, Thriller, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, PYT. And it's interesting in that out of all the artists, he does get the most songs played. They play a lot of Michael Jackson songs. The problem is that they play them way too much. Oh my God. Let the guy die for a while, please. Play Thriller at Halloween. That's great. But I don't need to hear Billie Jean or all his other. They hardly play Bad. I guess I could take Bad if they wanted to play Bad, or they never played Dirty Diana. But man, they play some of those songs. Man in the Mirror. I don't need to hear Man in the Mirror ever again. Okay, number 9. Girls Just Want to Have Fun by Cyndi Lauper. Why do they play this song so much? I know that it's supposed to be like the 80s anthem, and I would put number 9, I would slash in Aha, Take On Me, which I didn't write down, but now that I think about it, those two songs, for some reason, they've become the poster children of the 80s. Oh, the 80s? Oh, that was Girls Just Want to Have Fun and Take On Me. And they really weren't. You know, they're both big songs. And Take On Me is big because of its video. Because I don't know what the hell that guy's saying. I don't know what he's saying. I defy anybody to tell me the lyrics to that without looking them up. And Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Good song. Crappy movie. But they just play them over and over again. And you know what? Now, Aha has no other hits. They have the theme song to Living Daylights, and they have The Sun Always Shines on TV. But those are not what I would call hits. They have one hit. They are a one-hit wonder band, and that is Take On Me. But my God, let it die. Can it just die for a while, please? And Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Cyndi Lauper has great hits. True Colors. They do play Time After Time every once in a while. She Bop. I Drove All Night. Goonies Are Good Enough. These are good songs. But man, they play Girls Just Want to Have Fun over and over again. And you know what? I'm thinking of them as I'm talking. Another one that I would put in that same slot is Oh Mickey by Tony Basil. Again, not a terrible song, but my God, it's like, no, this was all the 80s was. No, it wasn't. If go on YouTube, there are people who put together compilations of the year, 80, 81, 82, 83, by year. It's an hour and a half. I listen to those while I write because there's less ads than if you try to listen to them singly. But you hear songs and you go, I haven't heard that song in years. The radio just won't play it. Oh, God, Tony Basil. I mean, Tony Basil's legendary, and she still looks amazing. But that song, man, I think if I never heard it again, if they played it at my funeral, I would pop up and go, bro, no. All right, number 8. Number 8 kills me. It does. It's one of my favorite songs of all time, Hotel California. I love Hotel California. I love the Eagles. I love Don Henley. I love Glenn Frey. I love Joe Walsh and the other guy. But I love Hotel California, man. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. But for some reason, the last 5 years, it's become this go-to song, and it's played ad nauseum. And there's 2 versions. They play the record version, and they play the later Calypso version. And both versions can, almost cursed, they can just go away. They can F off for a while. You know, we can't miss you if you don't go away. Go away, Hotel California. Please. For the love of God. My kids know if I hear, it's gone. On a dark desert highway. No. And I love that song. I love that song, but I can't take it. Oh my God. Number 7. Again, this is a song I loved back in the day. But why they have chosen to play it over and over again, and that's Survivor's Eye of the Tiger. It's the Eye of the Tiger. No. Bro, no. When did that become like the go-to hit? I know that when Rocky 3 came out, they played Eye of the Tiger a lot. Eye of the Tiger. I got Eye of the Tiger. Okay, Eye of the Tiger. Great. Rising up to the challenge of her rivals. Stop playing it. Stop playing Eye of the Tiger. Please. So that we can like it again. And number 6, I love Almost Famous as much as anybody. I think it's a great movie. I think Cameron Crowe made an incredible love letter to 70s rock. But that scene where they sing Tiny Dancer on the bus has somehow convinced people that Elton John's biggest hit is Tiny Dancer. This is one of the very few on the album. On the list, it could just go away forever. Ever. If I never heard Tiny Dancer again, I'd be just fine. I cannot believe how often Tiny Dancer is played on the radio. And Elton John arguably has 50 songs you could play on the radio. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, Rocket Man, they played it every once in a while. Crocodile Rock, Benny and the Jets, Little Word in Spanish, Your Song. This guy has some of the greatest songs ever entered a person's ear. Elton John. Whatever reason, and I think it's that movie's fault. You'll see, and that's a theme that we'll see coming up. For whatever reason, they play Tiny Dancer over and freaking over again. Lay me down in sheets. And see, he says lay me down in sheets of linen. I swear to God, I always thought that was lay me down in sheets of leather. And I'm like, what's going on at his place? And how do I get an invite? But man, I can't stand that song. And it's not because it's not good. It's just because it's over and over again. Okay, number 5 is because of the movie Queen. And you know what? Tiny Dancer, Almost Famous, and of course the movie Rocket Man. But I don't think the movie Rocket Man is going to stand the test of time the way Almost Famous, that scene in the bus has. You know, that's one of the biggest remembered scenes of the 2000s. Number 5, Queen. Just Freddie Mercury, God rest his soul, died. Let's let the man die for a while. They made that crappy movie. They have all his songs and they just play them. I swear to God, man, I grew up in Wayne's World era and we were tired of Bohemian Rhapsody then. Dana Carvey was tired of it one night of filming. He said, I can never hear that song again. Mr. Carvey, I am with you and I understand your plight. Please make Queen Bohemian Rhapsody go away for a while. Bohemian Rhapsody, Crazy Little Thing Called Love, We Are the Champions. And I know this pains people like, Jeff, those are great songs. Yeah, they're great songs. But they've overstayed their welcome. It's the next morning, and I'm calling them an Uber so they can leave. Mr. Mercury, your Uber is here. It's time to go. Number 4 is one of Rachel's favorite songs. But I swear to God, you can turn on the radio and hear Jesse's Girl at least 10 times a day by accident. Oh, there's Jesse is a friend. We get it. He must have made so much money off Jesse's Girl that anything else just seems superfluous. And you know, Rick Springfield has one of the largest mint-on-card Star Wars vintage collections in the world, which I would love to see. Can somebody do a report on that? Can make a YouTube video? I'd love to see what he has. I know Rod Stewart has one of the world's largest HO scale trains in the world as his hobby. But Rick Springfield collects Star Wars figures. But man, Jesse's Girl, and he had a couple of other songs. Rick Springfield had multiple albums. He had a pretty good career. You know, he was not a one-hit wonder. He had a movie, he had a career, but all they seem to do is play Jesse's Girl. That's it. He had one song that will now be entered into the books, and that's all you get, sir. And you're like, he had others, please. You want to call KEarth 101? Hey, KEarth 101, what can I play for you? No, it's an anti-request. I'm calling in an anti-request. An anti-request? Yes. Stop playing Jesse's Girl. Please. Thank you. Wouldn't that be? I should do that. I should call up and do anti-requests. Because number 3 would be way at the top. Number 3. Sweet Child of Mine by Guns N' Roses, man. Oh my God. This one I actually hate. I hate this song. I don't ever want to hear it again. I hear that guitar riff, and I'm just the channel cannot change fast enough, you know. Reminds me of childhood memories when I can't do it, man. And here's the joke. I don't know why they play it so much, other than, again, it must be cheap, because growing up in the late 80s, they didn't play a lot of Guns N' Roses on the radio. KNAC might have played it a few times. Pirate Radio might have played it a few times. I mean, Pirate Radio would have been the place to hear Guns N' Roses. Scott Shannon, Pirate Radio. If you're not cranking it, you must be yanking it. Yeah, great. Remember Pirate Radio came on the air and we didn't know what it was, and they were commercial free for like 2 weeks, and we're like, they just keep playing music. Oh my God, it's like there's no commercials. It's like a real pirate radio. And then one day it's like, oh, it's all commercials. Oh, we were duped. But Sweet Child of Mine was never played that much back in the day. It just wasn't. So this retro nostalgia for it makes no sense to me. I have no nostalgia for this song. I never made out with a girl while it was on. I never drove my car around the streets of LA while it was on. Zero. I have zero affinity, and this is the one song on the whole list. I just wipe it away. You know? Call the guys from Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and wipe it from my memory. Number 2 is an entire band. Fleetwood Mac. I don't know when we decided that we needed to hear this much Fleetwood Mac, but I was never asked my opinion. Nobody ever called up and said, yeah, we're thinking of playing Fleetwood Mac all day. What do you think? And I'd be like, look, no. I'm going to help you out here. Free of charge. No. I hear Fleetwood Mac, and I just want to, oh my God, I want to blow my brains out. I just do. Especially, I don't know if it's Stevie Nicks, because Stevie Nicks, and they play them together, But that landslide song, I don't get it. I don't know what it's about. I don't understand why this woman's getting old and there's a landslide. I can't stand it. I'm getting older. Children get old. Whatever. Stop. I like 17, Edge of 17. Is that what it's called? Because it was written by Prince. It's a really good song. But man, Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow. Rumors. Anything Fleetwood Mac. I just want to curse so bad. F you, Fleetwood Mac. F you and F this music. Because I can't take it anymore. Make it go. I mean, it's number 2 on the list. Number 2. But number 2 and 3, we're done. We're going to erase you. What does Salieri say when he puts the crucifix in the fire? I will block you. I will block you, Fleetwood Mac. And number 1 should not come as any surprise. What is the most played song on the radio? This song had a resurgence, 8-9 years ago on Glee, and for some reason became this go-to karaoke, TikTok, Vine, YouTube, TV show, movie. Don't Stop Believin' by Journey. I don't want to believe anymore. In fact, I have stopped believing. I don't want to believe anymore. I want you to leave me alone. And I love Steve Perry, and I love Journey. I love the new guy who sounds like Steve Perry. I grew up listening to a lot of Journey. A lot of Journey. Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin', Separate Ways, Wheel in the Sky, Open Arms. But all they play is Don't Stop Believin'. And every time I hear it, sometimes you put it on, you're like, okay, I'll humor this for a few minutes. You know, living in a lonely world. And you're like, okay. And then sometimes you turn it on and you get violent. Take it off, please. Take that horrible song off the radio. I can't stand me, no, Don't Stop Believin'. And I love Journey. And then to round off my list, I put up 2 bands that I can't stand. I never liked any of their music. I'm tired of hearing their music. And the 2 bands are Bon Jovi and Def Leppard. I never got the appeal of either one of these bands. I don't understand why they're popular. Every song sounds the same. Especially Def Leppard, man. Pour some sugar. No, please. I'm going to pour some gasoline on these copies of your album. And then Bon Jovi, man. It might have been the videos. Because they're always mugging, and they're in the videos playing the guitar. And I just, Tommy used to work on the dock. Who cares about Tommy? And that they're living on a prayer. And that they're wanted dead or alive. Who cares? Please. Okay. Dear radio station, on behalf of the listeners all across this country, stop playing these songs on the radio. Can you read this backwards? So please stop playing Nip It Snup Stunt and Cam Dwasflip and Shot Nip Nick. So please stop playing all this crap on the radio. Each of these big 80s bands, other than had numerous hits. And you could play a whole plethora of them. A whole plethora you could play of them. And not play these same stupid songs over and over. I'd play the radio right now because I guarantee you one of those songs would be on the radio right now. But I can't because I'll get in trouble with YouTube. And I don't want, I get so tired of watching my videos get muted. All right. I'm out of stuff to say. God bless you, George Michael. Thank you for making a few years of my life so great. I really enjoy that music. We missed you on planet Earth, and we hope that you and Prince and David Bowie are having a great time watching Judy Garland. Have you had enough of these car ones? Because this is all I can do right now because I have nowhere in my house to record. Nowhere. Even if I go to the garage, someone will come out while I'm recording. And these shows only work if I talk directly to you. If there's somebody in my peripherals, I am too distracted to talk. Because my focus is on you. Isn't that great? Aren't you lucky? Aren't you great? Aren't you happy that I'm exploring monogamy in my podcast? Thanks to everyone who supports this show on Patreon. We couldn't do it without you. I mean, we just couldn't. Thank God you're here. We love you guys. The pandemic's thankfully coming to an end and things are opening up. And I'll see you at Knott's Berry Farm, where I have a shift this weekend. I'm Jeff Tucker, and this is the car version of 91 Reasons.